Hi there, we want to introduce you to Aspen and River's puppies. So these pups were born on April 2nd. She started having the first pups real early in the morning of April 2nd. So they're about four and a half days old right now. And we want to just show them to you, kind of like get to know each pup a little bit. So first off, we'll start with Mama. This is Aspen here. She's going to get shy from the camera. She doesn't like the bright light, I think is what it is. It's shining up behind the camera so that we can see. But Aspen is a great girl. We love our Aspen, and she's been just a really wonderful mama for these pups so far. So we'll just kind of go ahead and show you each pup individually. Aspen and River had 7 puppies. We'll start with Miss Yellow here because she's kind of off on the side, not eating right now. So here is our yellow girl. And we will just kind of show you each puppy individually. They had their tails and dew claws done today. So you will see little scabs where the dew claws were removed. And a little bit of a scab. Some might even still be a little bit not quite scabbed up yet. And if you looked real close, there's a stitch in there in the tail where the tails were done. So a Vizsla's tail is left at 2/3. You take 1/3 off and you leave 2/3. That's a little bit longer tail than is used for most pointers, but that is what is breed specific to these Vizslas. It's their breed standard. So let's show you our yellow girl. If we tip her head up, oh, so sleepy. If we tip her head up, she's got just a little bit of white right there in the throat. She has almost a heart-shaped or triangle-shaped badge here on her chest. Super dog or a heart, or something fun right there. If we look at her front paws, they're solid, no markings on the front paws. And if we look at her back paws, she's got a little bit of white on this left paw for sure, on that toe. And there's a little tiny bit of white right around the toenail of that one. That one might be a small enough marking it might fade and go away. We'll have to watch that and see. But I think that on her left back paw will probably stay. You can see she's nice, big, healthy pup. Aspen's pups were actually born really big. She had really big puppies, and they're eating well and growing really good. Let me show you the red puppy next because he was not big at birth. There's not necessarily anything wrong with him. Just a variety of size, what some might classify runt. When dogs get pregnant, not all of the eggs are released at the same time. They release over a few days to a week, and so you can have pups that are actually younger, and I think that's what's going on with Red. Our dogs tend to be average to larger than average Vizslas, and so quite frequently we'll get people who request a small puppy, one that's smaller, and that's really hard for us to fulfill unless we occasionally get what, again, you might categorize as a runt. We don't get them very often, but we do occasionally. So here is Mr. Red. Now let me just get yellow again, show you the contrast in size. You can see there is a significant difference in size, but there's nothing wrong with him. He's strong, he's vigorous, he is eating and growing. You can see he's got a little round tummy on him. We're making sure he gets fed. When the pups are smaller, sometimes the bigger pups will push them around a little bit. So we come in several times a day and make sure that he's getting his chance to eat, and he's growing. He is growing, but just a much smaller puppy. So we'll show him to you. Another thing that's unique about Red is he is the darkest puppy in the litter. There can be a large variety in color, and all of that is fine as long as they have the red tones. Let me grab, I'm gonna make him stop eating and he might be kind of mad at me, but Brown here is gonna be a lighter colored dog. If the camera's picking that up, he's lighter in color. Red is very, very dark. Vizslas can be even lighter than this as long as they still have that red tone. Now right now the pups are more brown than their mature color will be. They get more red as they grow. But a pup who is light at birth is going to, at maturity, have a lighter coat. And a pup who is dark at birth will at maturity have a darker coat. So that is one thing about Red too, is that he is the darkest pup of the litter. He's very, very deep colored. And let's show him to you. Oh, he's got a little bit of a dirty chin from scooting around on the floor. If we look at him, he's got a little bit of white in his throat. And we have quite a significant marking. Definitely that will stay right there in the chest. Front paws are solid. He wants to go back to his mommy, huh? And back paws are solid. So again, he's growing good. He's got a nice little round tummy. We're making sure that he's getting fed. But he, usually when they're that much smaller at birth than the rest of their litter mates, they will usually stay small. So we'll watch. Sometimes they can just be younger, or sometimes they might just be a position in the uterus where they didn't get quite as much of the nutrition or whatever, and once they're born they'll even out. But usually if they're born significantly smaller like him, they stay small. So any of you who are maybe thinking that you want a smaller pup, keep your eye on Mr. Red there. All right, let's see here. We'll do Purple since she's kind of on top. Purple is our other girl. Purple is also a little bit lighter in color, kind of like we just showed you with the boy. Purple is a little bit lighter. She's a big pup. And if we roll her over and take a look at her, she's solid in the throat. She has a little marking on the chest center right there. That one will probably stay. Sometimes small markings fade. That one's kind of borderline. I would guess it'll stay. It's not a huge marking, but I think that will stay. Right center in chest. She is solid on the front paws. And she is solid on the back paws. I'll kind of explain on her. If you see this scab right here on her tummy, that's where her umbilical cord was. That's a dog's belly button. That will finish healing up as she continues to grow. And that's what that is. And we've already explained the dew claws and the tail. You can actually on her see the stitch a little bit. On the other one, that was a little bit harder to see. You can actually see there's a stitch in there. Those don't have to be taken out. They're just the dissolving. They'll come out when the scab comes out. She's cute, isn't she? All right. Well, let's go on. So we've done the girls. Let's show you our brown puppy a little more in depth. Like we've already mentioned, he's a little lighter in coloring than some of his litter mates. He is a big puppy with the big head, more like his daddy River. If we tip his head back, there's no markings in the throat. There's just 2 or 3 white hairs right here on the chest. That would not surprise me if that entirely goes away. If we look at his front paws, he is solid. If we look at his back paws, we'll have to watch it. It's maybe a little bit lighter on a couple of the toes, right at the toenail, but it's not what I would call a marking. It's more of what I would call a highlight. So we'll have to watch and see whether that gets more so or less so. I would guess at maturity that this boy is going to in effect be a solid pup at that point, because the only real white I'm seeing is just right there. And I think that that won't even stay. So he does have a tiny bit of white marking in the chest right now, but my guess would be that that will fade. So that is our brown boy. Big pup, lighter in coloring, and pretty close to solid if he doesn't end up that way. Looking around trying to find his mama. All right, we'll give him back to mommy. Blue's squirming around here, so we'll grab Blue. Blue is a big boy. And we will show you, he's a little bit wet. Mama got a drink and slobber dripped all over him. He's a little bit wet. We will show Blue to you. Let's roll him back and take a look at him. He is solid in the neck, in the throat area. He does, like you saw in his sister, have kind of a small centered chest marking. That's big enough, I think, that that one will probably stay. Solid front paws. and solid back paws. And he is a big pup. River is a very large Vizsla, and he has a big structure to his head. And we're seeing that in a lot of these pups. So if you're looking for a big one, a lot of these are going to be large. All right, so we've done red and blue and brown. And the girls, let's see, who's under here, Mama Bear? That's brown. Okay, we've done the girls. Let's grab gray right here. So here is our gray boy. He's yawning. I don't know if you can see that. It's so cute when they do that. Here is gray. Let's roll him over. Take a look. He's got like 2 white hairs right there. I don't think that will stay. That will probably go. It's got a little bit of a marking right here in the chest. That likely will stay but not be highly noticeable as he's bigger. Solid front paws. If I can get both of his back paws at the same time here. And solid back paws. So that is our gray boy. He's pretty dark in color, but not quite as dark as red. All right, we'll do Mr. Orange here. Orange is the most marked puppy of the litter. So if you like the markings to bring that individuality, then he might just be the boy for you. We'll take a look at him. If we roll him back, he's got definite marking in the throat and definite marking in the chest. He has a little bit of a highlight around the toenails of his front left paw. He has markings on both back paws, on those toes. And he's also got a little bit of white kind of on the underside of his paws. So he is definitely a marked pup if that is something that you're looking for. Some people really, really enjoy the markings to bring that individuality in a breed that, you know, a lot of people think one dog just looks like another. So if you like that individuality, he might be the pup for you. Aspen is kind of stretched out and breathing a little heavy. That's just because it's warm in here. Pups at a young age have to be kept really, really warm. And the mamas don't enjoy that quite so much, but it helps the pups to be able to focus their energy on growing versus, you know, trying to keep their bodies warm. So that's really good for the first, you know, little bit, week or two, for them to be kept at a really nice warm temperature. Really helps the pups to get started off right. Anyway, they're all just doing really, really well. We're really happy about them. We're really excited for them to be able to join your families and be a really happy and fun addition to your family and your home. Pups will twitch in their sleep, and that's actually a good sign, so that's nothing to be concerned about. You'll notice that they'll twitch their ears or occasionally kick, stuff like that, even when they're sleeping. That's actually a really good sign that their nervous system is developing. So when they're born, their nervous system isn't fully developed, as can be seen by their eyes are sealed shut, their ears are also sealed shut, they're really small and thick at this point, and the actual ear canal is not open. That will open between 2 to 3 weeks at about the same time that their eyes do. Their ears, as they mature, will grow and get larger, more the proportion you would expect on an adult Vizsla as they continue to grow. But so their nervous systems aren't fully developed when they're born, as you know, as seen by the closed ears, the closed eyes, all that kind of stuff. And so that's why tails and dew claws are done at a really young age, is because they don't actually have a high level of sensation of pain at that young of an age, and so that's a good time to do it. The reason they are done on this breed is because they are a hunting and active breed. The dew claw is basically a thumb, and as they're running through brush and stuff like that, hunting, even if they're not hunting, just being an active breed and loving the outdoors like they do, they can tear that off And it's, you know, much less traumatic to just cleanly remove it as a young pup versus to have it being ripped off once they're a grown dog. As far as the tails, a faceless tail is much thinner at the end than, say, a lab or something like that. And they can actually break their tails as they are running through woods or places like that, or even just getting so happy and getting what we call the waggle butts. Vizslas get those, get real excited and really get that tail going. And if they whack that on something, it can actually break. And there's a lot of blood vessels in there a lot of bleeding and stuff like that. And so the tails, again, that really thin end is taken off. And again, it's much better done at a young age than allowing them to become injured when they're older. But so this twitching is just a sign that that nervous system is starting to develop, and it's something that's perfectly normal. It's not something to be alarmed about to see a pup twitch like that while they're sleeping.